Hi, it's Dre Griggs with Obsidian Wisdom. Today we'll be discussing financial planning for beginners. When it comes to financial planning, we often think how difficult financial planning is, and so we don't feel like getting started. The other thought that we have is I don't know if I have enough money or enough disposable income to really find value in hiring a financial planner on my own. Even if you're not 100% sure that you need or want a financial planner, it doesn't mean that you don't need a financial plan in place. And keep in mind that there is a plan for every season and a process for every result. And so you want to make sure that you're being intentional with your money and your time to make sure that you accomplish the ultimate goals that you have for yourself. And so when you're looking at financial planning for beginners, I'm going to go ahead and break this down into 4 simple steps. The first one is I need to make sure that I know exactly how much money I actually have coming in each month, and I need to know how much money I have going out each month. Now, if you want to keep it simple, you can log into your checking account and you can see what is direct deposited from your checks each month. So you take the amount of money you started with, and then you take the amount of money you have left over at the end of the month, and that difference is how much you spent that month. Now, we don't have to get into the part where we decide where that money is going. We're just simply going to start with a very simple financial plan for beginners. The second thing you need to do is decide how you want to allocate your budget. So there's a few ways, but high level, you just want to make sure that you have a percentage of your money every single month that goes towards certain things. Generally, it's going to be what are my needs, and then I have a certain amount of my money that goes to that. The majority of your money should go to your needs. That could be anywhere from 50 to 70 to 80% of your money. And then you have money that goes towards your savings and investments. This could be money that is going to be used to create your passive income, your retirement fund, your nest egg. All these would count. You want to say, how much do I want there? If you're someone who has living on 50% needs, then you may be able to say 30 to 40% of your money is going to go towards investing in your freedom fund. If your needs total closer to 70% of your income or higher, then you may only be able to allocate 5, 10, 20% tops towards your investments and savings. And then the remaining portion is going to go towards your debt repayment and your philanthropy. No matter how much money you have, it's always a good thing to be able to give something back. Now, if you feel you absolutely cannot allocate any percent of your budget, whether that means that you spend all of your money each month, so you're just trying to get out of the hole, well, that's fine. What I would say is in that situation, you want to allocate all of that remaining percentage towards your debt repayment, and you may decide that it makes more sense for you to allocate all of your money either to needs or debt repayment, and that is fine as well. It really depends on what you're looking to get out of this. But if the plan is for you to be able to have some money that's going towards your needs, some money that's going towards your future, and some money that's going to get rid of your past debts, then that would be a strategy that you can use. And there's different ways to do it. I've seen it where people have the 50, 30, 20. So about 50% of your income is what goes to your needs that you live off of. 30% of your income goes towards your investments and your freedom fund. And then 20% of your income goes towards your philanthropy and you're paying off a debt. If you've read The Richest Man in Babylon, they usually stick around 70%. So 70% is what goes towards your needs, like your food, your housing, your shelter, your gas, and transportation. You have 20% that goes towards your debt, and you have the remaining 10% that goes towards your philanthropy and your future investments in your freedom fund. Either way, you want to decide how you're going to budget your money out each month. You already know how much you have, you know how much you're spending, and we're going to shift that towards these percentages so that you're able to now start putting money away in different things. And so it's important to make sure that you are lowering what you require to live off of. Now, depending on your income, that may not be possible to get it below like 80% in the beginning. Whether you have to find a higher paying job or whether you have to lower your cost of living, you want to make sure that you're able to get out of debt. Once you're out of debt, you will find that your money, your disposable income, now that you're allocating towards your financial freedom, I usually talk about it as the 4 freedoms. The first freedom is mindset freedom. That freedom is when you realize the system is designed to make lifelong employees from early education on, where you get in a debt and you have to climb your way out of it if you ever want to be able to achieve the second freedom, which is your debt freedom. Once you climb out of the debt, once you have realized that the system has been holding you back and now you're able to get out of debt freedom, then that leads you to get towards financial freedom. And then from there we get to generational freedom, where we're able to pass on this knowledge that we have so that our future generations are able to start off on a better footing to the point that generationally now we're just free forever. because we pass on not only the money, but the mindset. Number three on our list of financial planning for beginners is you need to set some financial goals. It's one thing to be able to get out of debt, it's another thing to have some money set aside, and it's something else completely different to decide what you want to do with your money. Whether you want to talk about retirement or buying a home or going on trips and traveling, you want to write down all of these goals and dreams that you have. I encourage you to write down at least 20 of them, and then you want to update this list on a regular basis. You want to think of places you want to go, people you want to meet, things you want to do, people you want to do it with. You need to have these goals. These goals is the most important part of financial planning, because when you're tempted by something in the short term, you have to have that long-term anchor to pull you from that temptation. That is where most people are failing in financial planning, is they have no idea what they want to do with the money. So everything today seems like a really good idea of what to do with my money. I don't really have any plans for it. But when you have the goals and you write down exactly what you want to do with your money, it changes things. Where now you're deciding, do I want to spend the money on something today, or do I want to make sure that we can take that trip as a family to Hawaii or Jamaica? Whatever it is that you have written down, you want to be able to use those as your anchors. We talk about that in the Wisdometric framework, where that's your why. That is your understanding. What is it that I'm going to do with the money? Why am I excited about this? How will this change my life? What are some of the experiences that I know will help me feel really good when I look back at my life? The answer to these questions are going to be the goals that you're going to create for you to do with your money. And then the last thing is, you often want to make sure that you dot your I's and cross your T's. And what I mean is, you want to make sure things like your life insurance is taken care of. And we're not just talking about just choosing a number, but realistically actually understanding, what is it that I hope this life insurance does? Do I want to make sure that my kids go to college with this? Do I want to make sure that my family stays in the house that we currently have with this? Or do I just want to make sure that we pay off like the credit cards? Whatever that number is, you want to be able to think about that. For some, all life insurance is kind of like taking care of your funeral expenses, which is totally fine. But you want to make sure that you understand exactly what it is that you're doing with your life insurance. And that's also true for your disability insurance, your property and casualty. You want to make sure that you understand what is the purpose of this money, and then you'll determine how much you need. If you're trying to replace someone's life, that's usually going to be at least $1 million. If you've ever seen where someone has like a wrongful death in a lawsuit or something like that, they often get paid $1 million. Well, how did they decide that? Well, if you take someone who makes the average median income and say that's like 55, we'll just say $50,000 to make my life easier for me. So if you have $50,000 and that person is 30, and let's say they were going to live and work for another 30 years, well, 50,000 times 10 is 500,000. And so times 3 to get to the 30 years is $1.5 million. That is how much someone's life is worth. And so if that is what you're using to determine how much life insurance you should have, that would be how you calculate it. What is the actual value that I'm going to bring it in? Or how much of the expenses are we trying to pay off with our life insurance? Those would be the two most common ways. Now, I've seen some people simplify it where they just say, take your annual income times it by 10. That's fine as well. But you want to make sure that you are properly insured. The majority of people are underinsured, where when someone passes, it's not really covering anything. And so you want to make sure that you have that understanding of what is the goal of that. That leads you also into your estate. You want to make sure that you have a will. Whether you do that online or you can meet with a probate attorney, it's actually a very reasonable price to have a will. You don't want your family to have to be in probate. You don't want people forging documents and pretending that you left everything to them. You want to be able to have this set aside, signed and recorded, so that you can at least minimize the arguing as much as possible when it comes to passing things on to the next generation in your legacy planning. You don't want to just focus on the financial aspect of financial planning. You also want to make sure that you focus on the goals aspect of financial planning. And then you don't want to just focus on your life of financial planning. You want to be able to focus on the life of your loved ones when it comes to financial planning. If you take care of those 4 things, you're in a pretty good spot, beginner or not. And I think that you'll have set yourself up very well when it comes to financial planning to be able to make sure that you're very comfortable and knowledgeable about what you have going on. When you're a beginner to financial planning, you may be asking, where should I put the money that I have? Usually a good place to start is like a Roth IRA. That's a tax-free growth and tax-free distribution. So that's usually a good place to start. Also, you get the free money from your 401k, 403b, where they offer it up to the match. That's usually a good place to put your money. And then anytime it makes sense for you to invest in any of the other adventures, go ahead and have like an index fund. There's no reason to have heavy trading and different fees if you're a beginner to financial planning. Go ahead and limit your fees and just kind of ride the wave of the stock market. If you like the video, I ask you to like and subscribe, and feel free to check out other Wisdometric videos if you're looking for ways to eradicate financial stress, generate passive income, and build a prosperous retirement strategy.